Hello, my dear viewers, and the rest of the listeners. Welcome for this presentation in which I am speaking about how to negotiate effectively for an amicable outcome. How to negotiate effectively for an amicable outcome. My name is Mehmet JM, or you can simply call me Emily Swap. Effective negotiation. My dear friend, this life that we are living is short, and thus you must always enjoy its every moment while you achieve your dreams and strengthen your relationships with those that are near you. However, because as human beings we are weak vessels, we tend to do or say things that may cause disharmony amongst ourselves, thus making us lead an uncomfortable life that lacks peace and is characterized by frequent fights and disagreements amongst ourselves. However, the remedy to this scenario and the best prescription to such situations that we are bound to face each day is to be an effective negotiator who knows what you want, who tries to understand the other party's position through his or her worldview, and who compromise where necessary. This is because with effective negotiation, you will not only be able to live with others in harmony, be able to resolve or solve conflicts, but also be able to establish healthy and long-lasting relationships in addition to achieving your life's goals without undermining others. Therefore, negotiation is a peaceful dialogue among individuals on a shared issue or a shared problem, with each trying to present his or her best idea so as to arrive at an amicable mutual agreement or alternative that leaves everyone happy and satisfied that they have gotten a good deal that they can live with. It is therefore a technique of discussing freely and willingly the issues that are affecting you or that may affect you as a result of each other's behavior or expectations, so that you, together with him or her, you can be able to reach at a conclusion that is beneficial to all of you. This collaborative discussion can result to a formal agreement, like a contract, or a less formal understanding, like a verbal agreement. However, whereas you may aim to achieve your best outcome from the discussion, it is also important to note that you may have to alter or adjust your expectations in order to strike a deal or arrive at a mutual agreement that is mutually beneficial to each party. For this to happen, you should avoid being adamant to adjust your expectations or insist on holding firm to your conditions. Therefore, you should be ready and willing for a give and take scenario. This is because for you to be able to benefit from the negotiation process, you have no other option but to show the other party that he or she is valuable and that he or she has the right to make his or her requests or demands. For this reason, you need to value the other party as you also value yourself through the give and take spirit that express care of yourself as well as taking care for the other party's interests. Always remember that if each of you hold firmly to your initial stance and refuse to reach at a compromise, there can be no conclusion on the issue. Therefore, in the same manner you would like the other person to compromise on his or her initial position in order to accommodate your interests, the other person also expects you to do likewise. You should therefore avoid holding on to your rigid views and try to adjust with each other in order to reach at an acceptable solution. Therefore, during this discussion, you must always be ready to adjust your expectations downwards to also accommodate the other party's expectations so that each of you can be able to achieve what you wanted midway. Always remember that none is perfect in life. For this reason, sometimes one may do something that might make you feel undermined by him or her, but that other party or that other person might not even be aware about it. Therefore, if at any time someone does something that may make you feel uncomfortable or tell you to do something that might make you feel disturbed, just talk with that person about the issue in a friendly manner so that you can both work out on the best way forward. Therefore, because you need people around you that you can share your moments with, give you company, and work together with you, you have to embrace negotiation as the best tool to help you achieve your goals in life as you strengthen your relationship with the others. For this reason, if at any time you feel that someone has done something wrong to you, you should not just break into fighting or quarreling with him or her, but just express your feelings and opinions about it and allow this person to express himself or herself so that you can then both work together on the best formula to arrive at an amicable solution. Therefore, negotiation helps you as a person to be able to always achieve your goal without hurting others because you do not fight for your rights at the detriment of others' rights, but you just sit down with them and strike a deal that will favor or will be favorable to each of you. In this case, you do not fight with others in order to just have your way, but you talk with each other and not at each other in a way that will not spoil either your mood or their own mood. Always remember that the conflicts never help anyone. Therefore, whenever you find out that something that someone else has said or done is making you uncomfortable or is causing you stress, it's advisable that you speak about it to the concerned person instead of spreading rumors or speaking to other people that are not involved as soon as possible so as to avoid dragging the issue and arrive at an amicable solution on time. In addition, as you hold this discussion, you must always be very ready and willing to not only listen to the other party's views, but also to adjust your own initial stand on the matter so that, in as much as you might not achieve the intended goal in the exact manner that you wanted it, you can still achieve it with some adjustments for the sake of accommodating the other party who also had initial expectations, just like you. However, always remember that you should never accept somebody's request or suggestions just for the sake of making him or her happy for that moment. Yet you know very well from deep your heart that you will not be able to fulfill that person's request or meet his or her demands just as he or she wants. This is because if you accept the request plainly without discussing about it with the other person so as to express the reality of the request, your acceptance may cause other conflicts later when you are not able to fulfill the promise that you made or you are unable to fulfill the request. For this reason, it is important that you always remain real and truthful to yourself by talking with the other person that is making the request so as to arrive at a conclusion that will be able or that will enable you to fulfill the request in a way that will be appropriate for you and for the other person. It is therefore always important that you sit with the other party or the other person, look at the issue in a realistic manner, and arrive at an amicable solution. This is because it is always beneficial and healthy to negotiate on an issue rather than accept or promise something that you know very well from deep in your heart that it will be difficult to fulfill. Negotiation is therefore important because it not only creates healthy relationships, but it also helps you accomplish your objectives in a way that is acceptable to all those that are involved. For this reason, avoid being a person that always rushes into objecting or rejecting something just at its face value, and avoid pushing, threatening, or intimidating others to accept your opinions or implement your requests without giving them an opportunity to be heard on the matter. Therefore, if at any time you find someone object your opinion or your intentions, it is good that you give this person an opportunity to express his or her opinion or viewpoint on the matter without any bias. This is because by listening to this person with an open mind, you will be able to not only understand what he or she means, but you will also be able to come up with better ways of fulfilling your intentions in a way that will be acceptable to the other person as well. In addition, by humbling yourself to give an ear to the other person that is objecting your opinion, regardless of your status, you may also realize that your opinion or intention was not good after all. In fact, it costs nothing to listen to others' opinions on any subject, but it's damn expensive to reject others' opinions without listening to them, only for you to realize later on that you have wasted your time and resources in implementing an unrealistic idea. For this reason, never undermine anybody who is concerned or despise anyone on any subject without having sat down with that person and talked about the issue. In fact, those people that you might despise and think that they cannot be of any value to your issue and that they have nothing to offer in relation to a certain subject, those might be the custodians of knowledge and the pillars to attaining excellence in your personal and collective goals that you intend to accomplish. For this reason, whenever you have any issue that you may intend to accomplish and you realize that someone has a differing opinion, just sit down with that person, listen to him or her keenly without being defensive, and then arrive at an alternative that is going to be acceptable to you, to him, and to everyone concerned. Always remember that there are various alternatives towards arriving at an intended objective, whereby some may not be acceptable to everyone, while others may be acceptable. Therefore, as you sit down with the other person to negotiate on anything, always be ready to not only listen attentively, but also to learn something from that person. This is because if you have an open mind and without being subjective to any party or any person, you are bound to arrive at an amazing alternative that is much better than your initial alternative. It is therefore important that you always create room and give room for negotiation to take place in relation to any issue, regardless of your status quo, if you ever think of fulfilling your plans in life, for as long as you will involve others towards accomplishing your intended plans. Negotiation is therefore good in not only helping you achieve your objectives, but in also enhancing your relationships between you and your juniors, as well as between you and your superiors. So, always go for a negotiation with an open mind and a positive attitude for a win-win outcome. Whenever you are going to have a negotiation, it is important that you avoid being defensive and negotiate with a clean heart. Do not bring to the table demands that you know very well that the other party will not be able to meet. It is important that you always remain optimistic that your outcome will be good for you and work towards arriving at a win-win situation whereby everyone feels a winner regardless of what he or she might have let go. It is always good to make use of an approach that will create a long-lasting relationship between you and the other party way long after the negotiation process is over. In addition, when going through a negotiation process, always ensure that you do not engage in arguments, but listen more as you talk less. Only talk when it's your turn to do so without interrupting or disrupting the discussion. Therefore, remember to keep your emotions in check throughout the negotiation process so that you are not carried away by your personal feelings that may sway you from your goal. Therefore, as you negotiate, make sure that you make use of language and words that can be easily understood by the other person. So, avoid making use of words that may bring forth ambiguous meaning to your intentions so that you are not misunderstood. Similarly, whereas the other party may say what you do not want to hear, kindly hold your emotions and avoid making use of vulgar or foul words against anyone. In addition, as you negotiate, do not sell your birthright. What I mean by birthright is that you should never show that you are very needy or helpless for an urgent solution that favors you, regardless of the terms and the conditions that the other party might give you. This is because, whereas it's true that you have a need that you would like the other party assist you to fulfill, don't let this other party deny you your other rights just for the sake of granting you your request. Therefore, whereas you might be in dire need, kindly keep your feelings to yourself and do not show this to the other party, and do not show the other party that your life is at his or her mercy. You should therefore never express your desperation to the other person during a negotiation because he or she may take undue advantage of you or of your situation. So, avoid being nervous or start sweating while in the presence of the other person that you are negotiating with. So, you should not stoop too low while in the negotiation process, but always present your position in a dignified manner. So, just as I have said, whereas some may say, I repeat, whereas some may say that the address is their choice, it is always advisable that you attend a negotiation ceremony or you meet with the other person for some negotiation. You should dress in a way that communicates your intentions. I repeat, in addition, whereas some may say that the address is their choice, it is always advisable that you attend a negotiation ceremony or you meet with another person, or whenever you meet with another person for some negotiation, always dress in a way that communicates your intentions. This is because your first impression through your dressing should always express your expectation from the other person during the negotiation process. Therefore, always prefer dressing formats that will create the desired impression on the other party so that you can also be taken seriously. Otherwise, your dressing may make you to be treated casually, and it may therefore lead you into getting a raw deal because a casual dress may lead to a casual deal. In addition, as you present your opinions about the subject of discussion, Always look confident and concentrate on what you are saying without avoiding any non-verbal cue that may interfere with what you are saying or with what you mean. Therefore, you should always maintain good posture and control your body movements so that they do not contradict with what you are saying or cause interference to the other party's concentration. Always remember that what you are engaged in discussing is merely a discussion that is meant to arrive at an amicable solution, and its outcome will not mark the end of your life. Therefore, you need to be relaxed as you negotiate so that you can focus on the agenda and pay attention to what the other party is saying. In addition, always remember that negotiations can be intense, stressful, and an amicable alternative may not be easily arrived at. For this reason, it is good for you to learn how to turn the process into an enjoyable experience and be thankful in everything by heading to some of the following, or by making use of some of the following basic guidelines for a successful negotiation process. Number one, always plan and prepare adequately for the negotiation. Always plan and prepare adequately for the negotiation. Always think carefully about those to attend, the value or the venue, the day, as well as the time when the negotiation will take place. You should choose the venue for the negotiation carefully because the environment that is chosen, its surroundings, and its climate may make a difference in negotiations. For this reason, always choose a venue and a time that will encourage warmth and agreement. In addition, as you prepare and plan, you and the other parties involved or to be involved need to be aware of the issue or the problem that is going to be dealt with or the specific agenda for the negotiation. Therefore, before you engage in a negotiation process, always identify what you will be intending to achieve from the process and what the other party expects it to. In addition, you need to think carefully about your realistic expectations, the compromises that you are willing to make, and the action that you will take in case you do not achieve your objective as expected. That is, always develop a backup plan, or what we call alternative B, so that in case you go for the negotiation and your first plan seems not to work, you can opt for the second plan in order to convince the other party. It is therefore important that you and those others to be involved in the negotiation process acquaint yourselves with all the facts in relation to the issue. This can be done by gathering as much information as possible about it, including familiarizing yourself with any existing policies in relation to the subject of negotiation, having a clear understanding of the other party's position, as well as possessing some evidence to support your expectations. Also, be aware of your strengths and weaknesses as you go for the negotiation and know where they lie. Therefore, never attend a negotiation event or become part of a negotiation team where you are not adequately prepared with the minutest details of the subject just for the sake of attending because the other party might fool you. Number two, always set the terms of engagement. Set the terms of engagement. Before the negotiation process commences, it is important that you set out the terms of engagement by agreeing on the structure of the process, who will do what, and for how long. In addition, both parties should agree on the techniques and the strategies to employ in the negotiation process. In addition, it can be very beneficial for the parties to formulate a common set of rules and procedures to guide all the parties during the negotiation process so that none of the parties is allowed to deviate from the set boundaries. Such structures and rules are important because they enable the negotiation process to run smoothly, thus leading to an amicable solution within a shorter period. It is therefore always advisable that all the parties to be involved in a negotiation process engage in a structured approach to the process in order to avoid the process from escalating to a conflict. At this stage, a good rapport between the involved parties need to be created so that you can be able to encourage trust and openness amongst all the parties involved. Number 3 is presenting a clear clarification of the purpose of the negotiation process. Presenting a clear clarification of the purpose of the negotiation process. On the onset of the negotiation process, it is of vital importance that each party is given an opportunity to express himself or herself or themselves in relation to what they know about the matter, what each expects, and what each feels would be the best way forward. This is because each party must be very specific about what it expects to gain from the negotiation, because the purpose for the negotiation must be very clear. So, each party should be allowed adequate time to express himself or herself on the matter without being interrupted and without the other party jumping into conclusions. Therefore, as the other person is expressing himself or herself, it is important that you listen attentively and patiently, regardless of how unpalatable what is being said might be to you, as you take key points and seek for clarifications on what you might not have understood well. As you do this, be careful not to oppose what the other party is saying or argue just for the sake of arguing, but just wait keenly for your turn. Whereas what the other party is saying may not be pleasing to you, kindly just hold your guts and control your emotions, because you will get your turn to express your case as well. Even if you have an opportunity to react, do not be a person who loses temper, but do so sensibly without losing your temper, overreacting, or showing displeasure. Always remember that negotiation is not a battleground, and instead of fighting or abusing others for the sake of your interests, it is better to quit the negotiation. Also remember that each party needs equal time to present its case. In addition, as you present your case, remain transparent and honest with the other party as you articulate your wishes in a clear and precise manner. For this reason, avoid cheating or hiding any facts concerning the matter, because lies and manipulations will never bear any long-lasting results. Therefore, never keep anything to yourself and assume that the other party knows about it, because none can read your mind. Always remember to speak your heart out and let your issues be understood. In addition, do not try any clever tactics to outsmart the other party, because heavy-handed maneuvers will not generate any amicable solution. Therefore, always be honest with the other party so that you may have peace of mind and appreciate the outcome of the negotiation process. This is because, whereas your lies might turn to your favor, they may also lead you to great trouble later when the truth is known. Always be real and polite. Do not pretend that all is well when you know very well that it is not well, and do not pretend to be who you are not. Number 4 is prioritization of your goals, interests, or viewpoints. Once each party has freely expressed itself in terms of concerns and expectations, and has listened carefully to the other party, it is important that each party then clarify its goals, interests, or viewpoints. This can be done by each party outlining its expectations in order of priority from the most important to the least important. By so doing, misunderstandings will be avoided because each party will have a clear understanding of what the other party values most or what it expects to get from the negotiation process. In fact, the involved parties can share or exchange their expectations or demands in a written format so that each party can be thinking of what to do and what to say. Number 5 is harmonization of individual expectations. Once each party has brought forward what it expects, the two parties should then go through each other's list of demands and then harmonize them in a way that each will both gain something and lose something to the other party in equal measure. This equalization should be based on each party's order of priority. Therefore, each party should gain some of its high priority demands as it also releases some of those high priority demands to the other party. So, as one party gets accorded one of its high priority demands, the other party should be granted one of its high priority demands as well. And the process of give and take should continue until all the demands from both the parties are handled. So, as one party gets accorded one of its high demands or high priority demands, the other party should be granted one of its high priority demands too. And the process of give and take should continue until all the demands from both parties are handled. As you look through the other party's wishes, remember to put yourself in their shoes by viewing their wishes through their worldview or through their own perspective so that you do not make misguided judgments. Also, remind yourself that you are negotiating to get a good deal, but not to destroy the other party. For this reason, each party should be willing to make some compromises so that each party can arrive at a win-win outcome. However, if there is a demand that none of the parties is willing to let go, and both parties remain adamant by holding firmly to it, then rescheduling of the meeting can be done so as to give each party some time to rethink their stand or come up with other better ways of arriving at a solution that will be acceptable to everyone. Therefore, in the case you find that the negotiations have hit a break wall, you can agree to reschedule or regroup or take a break for each group to relook at the issue in contention and think of the way forward. This should be done without the parties getting embroiled in further disagreements. Then, when the two parties meet again, the process can be repeated, but with the main focus being on the pending issue that caused the scheduling of the meeting, or looking at that issue afresh. However, if there are still some issues that none of the parties is willing to let go, those issues can be set aside to be dealt with later so that those issues that are not contentious can be sorted out first. The parties can then agree on the best way to deal with the demand that none is willing to release to the other party, including settling for a negotiator who can assist them beyond consensus. The identified negotiator should be a person who is neutral and impartial so that he or she can help them arrive at a position that is going to be acceptable to both the parties. In addition to the negotiator being impartial and neutral, he or she should also be someone who is very much knowledgeable of the situation, have a clear understanding of the parties, and be well versed with all the available alternatives to the issue. Number 6 is settling on the way forward. Once each of the parties' viewpoints and interests have been put into consideration, the parties involved can now agree on the way forward, and the final agreement or decision made very clear for each of the parties for the purposes of implementation based on what has been agreed, and so that each party can be fully aware of the final decision that has been arrived at. It is always good to be the first one in a negotiation, to make the first offer so that the other party can respond respectively, while at the same time avoiding to accept the first offer from the other party so that there can be adequate room to venture or ventilate into more available offers or options. Once an amicable solution has been arrived at, it can be of much help if the two parties involved can have an evidence of the agreement. This can involve signing an agreement clearly indicating the terms and the conditions for the agreement so that none of the parties can reject it later on. The signing of the agreement is key because it clearly outlines the position of each party, and the document is enforceable in law if any of the parties violates the agreement. In addition, minutes of the negotiations meeting can also be written and be shared with those that were present as evidence of what transpired. Always ensure that, regardless of how much you may trust someone, you have a written document signed between you and the other parties, or between you and the other person, to serve as an evidence of what transpired and what you agreed on. Otherwise, even if someone is your best friend, sometimes those close friends that you trust most can let you down and disown even the deals that you negotiated together in good faith. Further, once an agreement has been arrived at or a final decision has been reached, the two parties should then listen to each other on the way forward in terms of the strategy to apply. And therefore, the two parties should develop a strategy to implement the decision so that the issue that had been discussed and the issue that had caused the disagreement does not cause or does not recur later. In other words, an implementation plan should be formulated by the two parties and be executed to close the negotiation process. Never allow a negotiation to drag for so long, because a conclusion and a closure of the same is important, and therefore, instead of letting a negotiation drag for too long, it is important that you reach at the final decision and you close the process. In conclusion, for you to be engaged in successful negotiations, you need to always do your research on the subject, ensure that you know your priorities well, consider any potential opposition to your expectations. Remember to always keep your communication open. Know when to walk away or withdraw from a negotiation process, and always keep your timelines in mind so as not to rush the negotiation process. In addition, you should never make assumptions during negotiation. You should never rush into concluding the process. You should never take anything personally. You should never accept a bad deal, and you should never over-negotiate. And with that, congratulations for listening to this video on how to negotiate effectively for an amicable outcome. To easily access more life skills, motivational, and inspirational resources from this ML Swap Life Skills YouTube channel, click on subscribe button below this video if it's not currently reading as subscribed. For any further suggestions, corrections, or queries in relation to this video and others posted in any of the above channel or any video posted in the above channel, That is any video posted in Emily Swap Life Skills YouTube channel. Kindly feel free to write to us through the email emilyswap@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening to me. Be a good negotiator and God bless you. Thank you.